What is going on, Internet? Another video coming at you from Washington Football Report. This is JD. Let's dive right into this. So, this will be a video I'm going to go over all the options Washington has at cutting players. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of attachments to players, or cutting or trading. Let me rephrase this. Cutting or trading players. So, just to let you know, I don't want to cut any, really don't want to cut any of these players. I hope the best out of all of them. But this is football, it's a business. If I was running this business, how would I do this? And this is how I would do it. And this is not how Washington's going to do it, so don't think I'm not controlling any of this shit. But this is what I would do if I run the Washington football team. I do this every year. I put on my GM hat. What would I do? What would I change? So this is one of the things I would do, is cut certain players. And the first player I would cut is Alex Smith. Alex Smith has done very well with Washington, and honestly, he's one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite players. His work ethic's good. He's a winner. He gets after it. I think he has good leadership. And he's in the games he started, he was 6-3 the first year we traded for him, and he was like, what, 5-1 this year or 6-1 this year, something like that. He's just a winner, and in Washington, he's been a very productive quarterback. The problem with him is two things. One, I personally, and I'm pretty sure Washington doesn't trust his leg. Last year, or this season, he had just a random calf injury that just wouldn't go away. Calf injuries don't last that long unless it's like I don't know. I've never heard of anyone having a calf injury that lasts that long. Usually they can like put something on it, numb it. But I think it's an ongoing issue, and they're just hiding some information, or Alex Smith is hiding some information. So I don't think he's just able to play a full 16-game schedule. So I don't think he's worth the money. We have an insurance policy out on him. So if we cut him, we save, his contract is upwards of $20 million or something like that, and we save like about $15 million if we cut him. So we can put $15 million into our pocket. If you watch the last video, Washington has a decent amount of money this offseason. We have top 5 money for free agency, and if we cut him and the next person I'm talking about, we save a little bit more than that. Would I be okay with Alex Smith to restructure? Let's say he restructured, didn't get as much guarantee, but he knocked it down to like a couple million, maybe like $4 or $5 million a year, just to be a backup and a mentor. I don't know. I doubt it. I think we need to find a player that can play and we can rely on. Taylor Heineke would be the starter on this team as of right now, and Alex Smith would be his backup. And I just don't have enough faith in our backup quarterback to be healthy and sustain playing a couple games if our starting quarterback gets hurt. So I don't trust that in Alex Smith. I just don't. And I'm sad to say that, because I love the guy. I think he's one of my favorite players, period. Doesn't matter who he played for. I've always been a fan of his. But he's one of my favorite players. But I just think his time has come. And maybe he doesn't want to hang it up, and maybe he doesn't. If it's not in Washington, somewhere else, then so be it. But I think he's gonna not retire. I think he wants to get his money, and he's gonna get cut, take the extra million, and go try to play somewhere else. I'm pretty confident that's what he's gonna do. So, next player, Landon Collins. Landon Collins, for Washington, has been a pretty decent player until last year. He's been a good tackler. He's what's called box safety. He basically is a linebacker playing safety. He's not big enough to be a linebacker, but he's also too good a tackler not to play him in the box to help with run support. He's not great in pass coverage, but he's a smart enough football player. I think we should cut Landon Collins. A lot of people are talking about we should move him to linebacker. I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think he's big enough. I think there's some outlier examples that people try to use, like I can't think of the kid's name, but the kid from the Colts. He's a middle linebacker. He's about 220, 215, something like that. He's not very big, and they're trying to say like, oh, see, you can be light and be a linebacker. Okay, that guy's done that for most of his life. He's that way for a reason. He's done it. Landon Collins has been a linebacker who a lot of his abilities has been his speed, his everything. He's coming off an Achilles tear, and honestly, we don't even know if he's going to be able to play. Achilles is a freaking difficult injury to come back from. Okay, you can't put weight on it. It has to heal naturally. It's a really bad injury. Let's just put it that way. Okay, athletes don't come back from that and be the same explosion that they were. You just don't. It just doesn't happen. It's a snapped tendon. It's not like a tear or something where you just have too much flexibility or movement in like your knee, like an ACL or something. This is a snapped ligament that tore completely, and it's a really bad injury. I'm just to put it that way. It's one of the hardest injuries to come back from. That and broken leg, which Alex Smith already had. But if we cut Landon Collins, it saves us about $9 million. I mean, we still owe him $9 million. But with that, combined with the Alex Smith money, that's $24 million we're adding back to the salary cap. So we're looking at about $60 million in cap space. With that $9 million, we can easily sign. And like I said in the last video, with the way the cap space is, we're going to be able to get a good player that can replace him and probably be cheaper than what we're even paying him. Because with a lot of teams not having money, good players are going to have to go somewhere to get paid a little bit, period. And the market's only be about 5 or 6 teams deep. So they're not going to be able to have like a bidding war for their services. Everyone's going to lowball players. So you're going to get some lowball players for a pretty decent amount of money. Or a pretty low amount of money. So I think that's what Washington's going to try to do. I think that's what they should do. Let me phrase that. I think they should cut Landon Collins. Now, if he's still injured, we can't do anything with this. This is it's a waste of time. Can't do anything with this. So it is what it is. But if he passes physical, I think Washington should cut him, save $9 million. I think we can have a handful of safeties out there. There's a handful of linebackers. I would actually honestly, I would not hate going forward with Cameron Curl and Jeremy Reeves. I think both of them are just better options right now than Landon Collins. And I know there's probably someone out there better than Jeremy Reeves, but I think we found one of our safeties in Cameron Curl. Cameron Curl is a very solid player. We got him in the 7th round. He's one of the biggest steals of the draft this year, period, much less for the Washington football team. And with that being said, Jeremy Reeves, we got him a couple years ago. I think he might have been like an undrafted free agent or something like that, but he played excellent. I had no issue with the way he played. And the defense looked phenomenal with those two playing rather than Landon Collins and Troy Apke. So, I don't know. It's up to them, but they can also go in free agency, and there's a handful of safeties they can get out there. They can also draft one. So, there's tons of different options they can do. I don't think Landon Collins is the answer to safety. I think he's, I just think he's too slow. So maybe that's the best solution if you don't want to get rid of him, is a moving linebacker, I guess. But like I said as well, there's also better linebackers we can get. So I don't think Landon Collins is the best option we can get at either one of those positions. And I think this year we're going to have the money to get one or two of those guys. So moving on to the next one, I think we should cut. And this one is one that's going to make people mad. And I know it is. I'm taking a drink real quick, so hold on one second. This one's going to make people upset, and I understand it. Hear me out before you go to the comment section. Let me get this straight. I love Jonathan Allen. I think Jonathan Allen is a fantastic football player. I don't think there's anything wrong with his game. I think he's very good. However, I feel a couple things about him. One, he's playing out of position. Hold on one second. I've been a little wheezy today, so I just took my inhaler. One, Jonathan Allen's been playing out of position. Jonathan Allen is a defensive end. He's playing defensive tackle because they want to play their best available players. They want to play Chase Young. They want to play Montez Sweat. They want to play Kerrigan. They want to play Ryan Anderson. So instead of him sharing reps, they start him at defensive tackle, where he's a little slight bit undersized, and he has very good technique, so it compensates for that. But he's playing out of position. Let's just be honest. He's not a defensive tackle. He is a defensive end. And he's very good at both. So you're not losing anything by putting him at either or. Washington decided that they just want to have the best possible line starting, so that's why they play him there. Okay. Jonathan Allen is a very good player. He's very solid. He doesn't get injured. He has good work ethic. He has a lot of good things that you would say, like, we don't want to get rid of him. He has a lot of good qualities that you want in players. But the thing is, we have that quality in many other players. Payne's another one that's got good qualities. Montez Sweat, Chase Young, those guys all have leadership. You gotta have less Chiefs and more Indians, so to speak. No pun intended with the Washington football team, Washington Redskins name. But you can't have all 5 guys having great leadership. You need some guys that can just gonna follow someone else's lead. And I think we have too many Chiefs. That's the best way to put it. Jonathan Allen is basically he's in a position where his contract expires first. Okay, it's the last year in his deal. He's owed $10 million this year. It's actually on none of it's dead cap if he's traded or cut. I don't want to cut the guy. I definitely don't want to do that. If we're gonna cut the guy, we might as well just play him. My thing is, I want Washington to trade him. I think they can get, because of this year's situation where the salary cap's less, there's a team out there who will give him or give something decent, like a second rounder, to get Jonathan Allen for a 1-year rental, because he's only $10 million. He's a lot cheaper than most other good defensive linemen out there. Like J.J. Watt right now, you want J.J. Watt or Jonathan Allen. J.J. Watt's going to cost you $10 or $12 million, but he's also old, he's injury prone, or Jonathan Allen, who will be fine. He doesn't have a history of getting injured. So, yeah, you have a player in Jonathan Allen that has a lot of value. And the fact that next year we're going to have to pay him a lot of money. We're going to have to pay him a 5-year extension, 4-year extension, a good amount of money. And I'm going to be honest with you, I prioritize. This is me personally. And this is how I think Washington should do it, but obviously Washington will do it the way they want to. Maybe they have a way to pay all of them. I don't know, but then they're going to have hard problems getting other positions covered. So let me just make sure my screen's not going to time out on me. I think Washington should prioritize Sweat and Chase for sure. Those two are the backbone of your defense right now. They make big plays. They're playmakers. They get the job done. They get double teamed. They get triple teamed, and it frees up Allen and Payne to be able to do whatever they want on the interior. And I also prioritize Payne. I think Payne eats up a lot of double teams. He takes on a lot of blockers. And I think you have the same kind of leadership and passion out of him as you do with Jonathan Allen. I think you got to prioritize keeping not to mention Payne has 2 more years on his deal. He has, he has 1 more year. He has next year, this year, and next year. This coming year and next year. So you still have another year where you can wait before you have to pay him, and you have a lot of money saved up where you can pay these guys. You can pay these guys good money. But I think you're only going to be able to afford 3 on this defensive line at that high price point. With Jonathan Allen gone, you have Matt Ioannidis and Tim Settle. That Tim Settle in less snaps got more sacks than Jonathan Allen last year. I think Ioannidis got the same amount of sacks as Jonathan Allen did last year. I know Ioannidis come off an injury, but it's an arm injury or it's a pec injury or something like that. The guy's still strong as an ox. The guy still plays good. And he's got a really good team-friendly deal. This will give us another $10 million in salary cap, and that puts us over $60 million. Washington can go out and get just about any player they want in free agency right now and give them long-term contracts, short-term contracts, whatever the case may be. And like I said, it's not that I don't dislike Jonathan Allen. Okay, I love Jonathan Allen. I think he's been a great draft for Washington, but you just got to look at it the big picture. The big picture is, 1, we can trade him and get a second-round pick this year. Okay? And the player we draft in his place will be a lot cheaper than he is going to be this year and going forward for the next 2 or 3 years. 1. Second part of that is, if he really wants to come back, we can still sign him back. I know that some guys are going to get pissed that they get traded like that, but he could literally bring us in an extra draft pick We can draft someone to fill another role, and for 1 year, Ioannidis and Tim Settle can hold it down, and then next year, he's a free agent. He can come back to Washington if he wants to, if everyone really wants him back. Okay? Are we going to win a Super Bowl this year? I mean, I think we have a good shot. I think we have a lot of good things going for us. We have a lot of cap space. We can add a lot of weapons on offense. We have a lot of talent we can add on defense. If we trade and we get good draft picks, we can add a lot of good talent to Washington immediately. So there's a lot of things that point to Washington being able to do a lot of things with the team right now. Like I said, in 1 year, is that 1 year going to be, is this coming year going to be the year we do it? I think the following year is. And if we really want to have Jonathan Allen come back, we can get Jonathan Allen back. If we have the cap space, if we have, let's say Taylor Heineke's our quarterback, we have a lot of cap space we're going to have available for a quarterback. At least for that year, for sure. So, I know it's not like, again, I know it's not like what everyone wants. Everyone wants to keep our entire defensive line. The way the NFL is, it's just not in the cards. You can't keep all your good players. I wish there was a rule that says if you draft them, you can pay them whatever you need to keep them. And it doesn't count against your salary cap. I wish you could do that, but there's not. You have to have a hard cap. You have to get rid of players that are good. So that's just the reality of the situation. And I think Jonathan Allen makes the most sense. It's the last year of his deal. We can get a pick for him. He can clear up $10 million this year. We can literally, get a pick, and we can also sign J.J. Watt, if J.J. Watt will take a little bit of a pay cut to be on a contender, to replace him if we wanted to do that. I don't think we need to do that. I think Ioannidis and Tim Settle are good enough, and maybe draft someone in the 3rd or 4th round that can be a role player or whatever. But I just believe that that's the best case scenario for Washington, is put ourselves in a situation where we can get the most out. Let's say Jonathan Allen, we can't afford him next year. What happens if we play this year and he walks next year and we didn't get anything for him? Okay, there's a mentality out there. It's better trade him a year early than a year late. Okay, now I'm not insinuating any that phrase pretty much means that they're on the tail end of their career and they have like a good year left or whatever. Trade them right before that good year, that last good year they have before they decline, because you'll get more trade value for them. Not insinuating that at all. What I'm saying is, if we trade him now, we get something. If we wait till the end of the next year, we may get nothing at all. Whereas if we trade him, he can still come back next season, and we can sign him back. Plus, we got a draft pick out of it. As long as it's like I wouldn't trade him for like a 6th. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trading him. He has value. He's still valued in my mind. He's valued at least a 1st. But I understand, because it's a 1 year left on his contract, that, like right now, let's just say hypothetically, Washington could trade him right now for a quarterback like Sam Darnold. I know not everyone wants Sam Darnold. I'm just giving an example that we can trade him right now for Sam Darnold. That's a $6 million we're saving right there. We have a quarterback we can play for a year. And after a year, if he wants to come back, he can come back. I know it's not ideal. I get that. And it's not something I'm, proud of having this conversation. But it makes complete sense if you look at it from a business standpoint. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I think I've gone over the point pretty well. Those are the 3 players that I would trade or cut. And the first 2 I would just cut. I would cut Landon Collins, or if we can trade him for a quarterback or something, do it. I would cut Alex Smith. Unless someone wants him at quarterback, more power to you. But I think Jonathan Allen needs to be traded. I would not cut Jonathan Allen. Like I said, he has too much value to me. But for 1 year, I don't think this is the year that we're going to be all in. We went to go Super Bowl or bust. I think that's not this coming season. I think we'll be close this season. I think a lot of things can get us close, but it'll be the following year. The following year where the salary cap goes back up and we have $70+ million in salary cap space on top of the money we already have. So, that being said, this is JD. This is the Washington Football Report. If you have not done this so already, I highly recommend you go to a website, and I'm actually going to go ahead and go to this website real quick. It's called Sided. I know it's sideways. Let me turn it up for you. Okay. It's called Sided, and one I did earlier was It's Just a Sport. I think it's not a sport. I'm not going to get into that on this, but basically you can go here and you can basically debate sports with anyone. There's a lot of things you can search for, like I did my feed, but if you go to sports, it has a bunch of sports questions that you can debate. You can just vote. If you just want to vote on something, you can actually get in the comments and debate on stuff. Like right now with the Chiefs trade Patrick Mahomes for 20 first-round picks. I think 20 first-round picks, you actually would do that, because you get, that's a lot of salary cap off your books, and 20 first-round picks is a lot of first-round picks. I don't think anyone's ever giving that up. Just don't get me wrong on that. I don't think anyone, but that's just an example. But if they could have 20 first-round picks, you'd be stupid not to. You clear a lot of cap space. You won a Super Bowl, and you can keep building the team over the next 20 years full of first-round talent. I mean, you can even trade back with that and get more picks if you need to. And it's just so much stuff you can do. Not to mention they have their own pick. So you have basically 40 first-round picks the next 20 years. Minimum. So, whatever. But I just want to show you this website. Okay? And it's not a website, I'm sorry, it's an app. It's called Cited. Follow me on there. I believe my login is WFT Reports. Yep, WFT Report. James Plank. That's it. That's my video. I want to thank everyone for watching. Hail to the Redskins, and have a good one. See ya.